All right. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Diverses Live every Tuesday at this time, where we take a look at all different aspects of poetry. My name is Jeff.
My name is also Jeff, but then my name is not, because you can see at the bottom it says it's Jeff, but it's spelled Matthias. So people just pretty much pronounce it Matthias. So there's that.
And, and we're going to be talking to you guys today about a word in poetry that just inspires so much emotion and hatred and anger and fear
And hunger.
and hunger. Depression, starving
Ironically,
artist.
that's probably the most apt one.
We're going to be talking about free. And I
Mm.
know, I know we all get afraid of giving away stuff for free. We're like, well, how are we going to do anything? Poetry already gives away so much for free. This is a devaluing of the art. I
Yeah.
get it. And I do agree that if you don't have a strategy with doing things, certain things for free, then yeah, that's very, very problematic. And that's not going to help you out. But I do think that free, just because it's something that is scary and maybe you don't know how to use, does not mean that it's not a tool that can also be really, really effective in trying to get your poetry out there. Matthias, what are your
Yeah.
thoughts on free?
It could be some tricky business. I think it has to be uh, whenever something is happening for free, like there is a cost that's coming from
Hmm.
somewhere.
Hmm.
So realistically, I will really on as far as I'm concerned, it's about really evaluating what the true cost is
Hmm.
and what it's costing you or what it might be costing the other person and really what everybody's getting out of it, because if you're getting something from it that is of value, or if you can find something of value from it, then I mean it's kind of a personal choice. But yeah, every situation is different.
I'm really glad that you brought up the concept of value because I think value is the thing that often is that's the thing we really need to be thinking about, and that's how we get people to be involved with our work is we have to be giving our audience something of value, something that they can take away. And I think that's
Oh yeah.
something that when you make something free, in some ways that can also hurt your value. So you do have to be careful. But I think when using
Yeah.
it strategically, it can be a way to also give value to people, and that's something that I do want to discuss. Any
Yeah.
other quick intro thoughts before we dive into some things?
No, I like it. Let's dive in.
Okay. Well, we're actually not gonna.
All
We will talk
right.
about that in a
That's gonna be for later. Let's sit
sec.
politely on this side of the pool while we're still kind of eating our snacks from earlier, because mom
Yes.
said we have to finish our snacks before jumping
Yes.
in the pool.
Yes, because there's a couple of things that have happened recently that I do want to introduce. So we do have some news for everybody. Give me a second.
You're using it correctly. Look
Yeah,
at
I mean, actually, we had an
that.
actual opportunity to do it. Look
Look
at
at
us.
that.
I think that's like the first time we actually had a chance.
Yeah.
Ariana was like,
That no, that
"You
was
guys are
like
just
okay. We had
dumb."
it a lot of times in the last one, but you just weren't utilizing it
So
properly.
speaking of news, we have a residency program. We have opened up
Yeah.
a residency, so it's going to actually be occurring in December. December 8th through 10th. So, if this sounds like something you are interested in or you have no idea what it's all about, I want to kind of just walk you through it. It's not actually open just yet. So, we're not taking applications right now, but what you can do is we have a little whiteboard. Look at all these people. So, you can put your little name or just do some scribbles. Some people just done scribbles, and that's cool too. If you put your name, basically, if you type this little T thing and then type, you can input your social tag. So that way, when we open for applications, you will be notified. So it's
Oh
kind of like a
yeah.
little thing to keep track of everybody, so we can also see what's going on with other people. I'm going to try to find that at OH person. But just some quick information about the residency. So again, I'm just going to highlight some quick things from here. You guys can find this at diversespoetry.com/residency.
Diverse
But
it
it's
up.
going to be a 3-day, 2-night residency. Again, December 8th through December 10th. During that time, you can work on whatever sort of writing project interests you. There is going to be a featured reading. We have actually already created the event page. I already have the venue. It's going to be at Third Way Cafe again. Shout out to Third Way.
Shout out to
Appreciate your
Taylor.
support.
Shout out to Tim.
Yeah.
Oh, they're
Shout out
doing
to
an
Tim.
opening here soon, right? The new
They
venue.
just yeah. Congratulations to Third Way Cafe. They just moved into their new space. It's a very different layout. Um, it's a lot more intimate. But it's very clean. It's nice. Got a lot of natural light. So congratulations to them. Um, so the residency again. You come for the residency. You stay for the 3 days, 2 nights. The second, the second night we have a featured reading. You'll get a 20-minute set. There will be another poet. The other poet will also share the same space because there's multiple bedrooms. I'll be on different floors of the house. The featured reading that you do is also going to be recorded because we want to make sure that you leave not just with like physical written work, but also something that you can also do to kind of support yourself on the socials, and we'll be broadcasting it on our own as well. Okay, so you'll actually get a recording of your reading as well. So that's something that we're really excited about too. And other things too, like I mentioned, we have 2 poets. One poet must be a poet of color is going to receive a $200 stipend for their work, which you can use towards travel or whatever, food, any other thing you've got going on. A second poet will also be selected, but unfortunately, they will not receive a stipend at this time. Submissions again will be opening soon. Submissions are going to be $20 for the opportunity to try and get accepted.
Oh yeah.
Just to get an idea what the space looks like. So the space is if you're familiar with Columbus, it's in German Village, which is close to the Book Loft, which is a very nice large bookstore with a pretty unique layout. It's a scenic neighborhood. Think like cobblestone streets, lots of trees, a couple parks, a couple like coffee shops and things like that. This is what the actual space is. So you see the bedrooms, kitchen space, living room. It'll come with all your kind of things like that. So if you guys have questions about the residency, please do let us know. Put your name up over on our whiteboard. Again, just typing in using that T button and then type your name. So that way we can have you on here and let you know as soon as things get updated.
Oh yeah.
And things like that. Matthias, did you have questions about the residency?
No, I feel like that it seems like a really not only cool idea, but also a really fun way to be able to really produce some work, and that's what we're all about at Diverse is writing some poems, right? Write a lot of poems while you're there.
Yeah,
It's important.
Lots of poems. Yeah.
Now this is going to be. So you
That
said it's in
is
December, so
all.
it's going to be like Ohio, like Columbus, like imagine those cobblestone streets, but then there's like either there's going to be snow or global warming will have done its job, and it's going to be really sunny. And so,
Yeah, I mean, if we're going to be honest, the last couple winters haven't been that crazy. Honestly,
just
and usually like it gets colder like February. Anyways,
we're just on a big microwave, so it's all
it's like,
we're good for a while. Oh god, it's just like 75 degrees on December 4th.
Facts, right?
We shouldn't have spoke this into existence. This is a bad idea.
Don't worry, I have something else that's going to cheer you up.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. Why was that?
Great question, Matthias. It was like that.
I'm going into a haunted house.
Because it's like that because last week we started our very first weekly prompt.
We did,
which is actually given by you. You actually went super abstract.
I did go abstract
with the prompt.
Yeah, I did.
You went very abstract. So our prompt. This is again taken from Threads. Our prompt was in your poem. You are not yourself, but it's hard being you. And we got a lot of responses. So we're gonna try to just do a rapid fire responses, but I thought maybe we could start with our own responses if we finish the prompt.
Yeah. Did you want? Did you want to go or did you want me to go?
It doesn't matter to me. Did you have a preference?
Here, you go first. I feel like that's
all right. So I have to be honest. I kind of just did the prompt like today in like a half hour. I was like, so I tried.
Because
I did
why not?
something. Um, why not? All right. So again, in your poem, you're not yourself, but it's hard being you. So my poem is Tragic Father Sends His Son to Preschool 2. What is a father if not a father anymore? No, I am not being dramatic. Yes, my son is still my son, even if my son is not here. My son is lost up top a jungle gym, a bit of mulch stuck in the if he's not on a circle time rug. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
That cut out. Cool.
No,
If he's
you're
not on a
there.
circle time rug, a story in a teacher's pincher grip. A term I learned because there were days when I sprawled across the floor. I thought would never end. I was convinced the sun refused to budge. I measured it with chalk on a colorful plastic easel, the way I have seen cops do on tires a minute before they impound. Where have those days gone? With my son in tow, all evidence painful in that it is clear I have lost myself in my house, no different than a cell phone that echoes in a suddenly lifeless living room until the battery goes dead, or one of us gives up, or both. That's my poem.
I'm gonna push the clap button on my end, which is just me clapping, but it's outside of view of the camera, so you don't see it. Yay!
Why did you press
Yeah.
that button, Matthias? Why did you press that one?
Oh, because I have harsh critiques for that. That was good. It feels like that was like really close to you. I mean, not like I mean, but it's like not you, but you know what I mean. Maybe not.
But the way I
It was
took it
good.
was like a speaker that changing, like a speaker changing identity. That's kind of how I interpreted it
That's fair.
personally. That's how I interpreted it. Yeah. All right.
That's good.
It is your turn, sir.
Okay. I don't have a title for this. So yeah, I'm just gonna read it. I am once on the solid wood slats of the rec center where the inner city youth were playing a junior league tournament at 10 a.m., where there was a baby shower happening now. Before I was born, where I am standing was still here, but before that, it was a new family's home. And before that, a plot of land, and it was people that looked like me that worked that land. And before that, the history doesn't say out loud. A DJ arch enemy stretches the room till it's taut. The air turns thick as its history, and as light as the people that told it. And the wood slats of Fedderson's Cook Road shift beneath my feet to the rhythm of an Usher song. I take a leap. I take a step and then a second, one back and then to its left, not yours. The sister of the mother of the mother of the baby mimics me in earnest. The father of the baby watches my feet in the wood slats, and he does the same. We, all of a sudden, a hall of black mirror. The song isn't the instructions, the song is the instruction. The long storied feet beneath us tell of the last lines of defense, the hustle. And I think, oh no, they think I know the moves. There's more to happen with that poem. I don't have everything, but that's it.
That was a poem.
That's a
That was a
we can
band.
call it.
Yeah.
We'll call it
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
We'll
It's
call
good.
it that. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So I thought something we could do because other people have also sent us so many poems.
Yeah.
I just want to do like a quick kind of like rapid fire look through, and then we will get into our main topic.
Let's
of the
fire
evening.
rapidly.
Yes. As again, yes. Okay. I need to share this screen one more time. All right. So There were a lot of poems. So I kind of just want to make sure to get all a
That's
little
good
bit of
though.
justice to be seen. Yeah. Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna I'm gonna I'm gonna drop you
Okay. So
over
I'm just gonna
here.
kind of like do a quick scroll through. Okay. Can you see it okay? Is it big enough?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Um maybe what we can do is kind of take turns just like saying like one thing that we notice about the poem, if that's okay with you.
Wait, do you
Okay.
want to read
Like I'll
them?
do there's a lot. Like,
I mean, well,
there's a
yeah,
lot
if
of
you
them.
wanna. But I feel like to be
um
like, okay, like to know
okay.
it, like this is what I know about. Maybe we read a couple, or maybe no. What do you think?
I was thinking
As you guys can tell, we plan the podcast out very thoroughly before we talk to
let's
you. For hours, we are
let's
talking about this.
let's do this. Let's give them voice. So each poem we will try to do a read through. We'll take turns. I'll read one, then you can read the next one. Okay? Does that sound fair?
Sounds like a plan.
Okay. Um. Again, we're not considering this publishing personally. So if you're worried about it, do radical revisions. If you're trying to
Mhm.
get these published. Um. The last ones to touch me broke me, stole parts of me, left me charred and empty, and I fear them as I crave them. I don't recognize myself. My windows boarded, my insides aching to feel another family. Why must I stand still in this ghost town? Even my ghosts have gone. Thinkative. Thank you, Thinkative.
That was a strong. I like the last one.
Yeah, right. That's a very good close. They
Yeah.
got some praise there, as they should.
Oh, look at you.
Um, as I yeah, I was there. I was there. Okay.
Even my ghosts are
Moving
gone. Yeah,
on.
that hits kind of hard. Okay. Oh, is this
All right,
me?
your turn,
Okay.
sir.
All right.
This is
It's fake. Oh, okay. Oh, I'm gonna read in my like radio, my like. It's
oh, please
fake.
do.
Oh, it's fake. That happy grin, the one I craft to suck you in, hidden pains to nullify, lost in friction's lullaby. I'm sorry, love. My blood runs deep. Into your blistered heart I seep, blending such a bitter rue. I hate this hate I give to you.
There you
That
go. There you go.
it's kind of visceral a little bit, I think.
I
It seems like
think
some
people are going
stuff.
hard on like endings.
Mm, right. Yeah, that was that kind of
Yeah,
they kind of
we're
got
going.
somewhere with
Yeah,
that one.
yeah.
Ooh,
I think this is the right version. So, Catherine's Coffee House, divorce.
all right.
For weeks you deny, you resent me, withdrawing, same as rain. Lie holding its breath like heavy August air. You a drought and I something else. Something like a river, slow drying, abandoned by duckling, white heron, great egret, seeking the usual sustenance from another able body, perhaps the inlet or stream, anything else but me, while I recede, evaporate, thirsting to be the storm. Everyone was like, I'm going to write a closing line, and it's going to be solid.
And then you will you will absolutely you just meet me
And they
there.
did it,
Meet me there. I'll see you
right?
soon. Good. Okay. Wait, flirting with my demons. That's all right.
You can search for
It
them
mi-
later, Matthias.
Come on. What is that? Okay, that's good. That's good. All right. Shout out to flirting with my demons that did this prompt 5 days ago, which in all honesty is
Facts.
much more diligent to this prompt process than either of the
Than
hosts
any of
of
us.
this podcast. Okay. It might be the phase of the moon, or maybe it's this mask stuck to me, caught between this dance of reality and RPG. I think I'm meant to say something funny here. Say something so you feel seen. Relate. This mask, a mirror. I'll show you your own face. If it slips and you see mine, I'll be alone again.
All right. All right.
Okay, so this was I okay. This is kind of like a there's a lot of stuff happening in this poem, but I think that exact sentence like 50 times a day. That I think I'm meant to say something funny here. like, like there's like a lot of like you'd be really surprised how like I don't know if you're like a middle child watching this, you probably have the same exact feeling. Like there's like several times a day that I'm like, I think I'm meant to say something funny here. Like I'm
Like a
supposed to be
life's
aware.
purpose kind of thing.
Yeah. Like let me say something here.
All right, I might put these on pause for a moment. We'll come back and do some more
Put
in
them
a
on
bit, but
pause.
I
Yeah.
want we're gonna get into our topic. Okay. Um, so again, our main topic for today, we're talking about how to use free in a way that actually benefits you. Um,
Yeah.
and so one of the things that we mentioned earlier is that again, the goal with this, one of the things that free can let you do if you strategize well is it allows you to give value to your reader or to your audience. I mean that's part of the whole reason why we have the channel, or anytime like you've seen like YouTube channels and things like that in general, especially ones focused on like education. You're giving
Yeah.
content for free. You're literally
Yeah.
spending hours and hours in money. You know, like this stuff, depending on what you're doing, a lot of times is not cheap. You know, but what's the end goal with it? The end goal with it is to provide people with something that they can take away and can have an
Yeah.
impact on their own lives directly. Other things you wanted
Oh
to
yeah.
add on to that?
No,
Okay,
no, I agree. I think it in a lot of ways free opens like kind of the accessibility portal. In a lot of ways. I think that there's something really valid to somebody being able to receive not even necessarily like a sample, but also be able to, just like you said, kind of derive something specific from you without kind of a barrier to entry. Because even if naturally like later on down the line it there is a cost associated with it. It's like you've already proven concept, and they've already, if I get something for free today that benefits me worth, I don't know, $500, then later on down the line, if somebody says, well, it's going to cost you $200, it's like, yeah, I'm not making $500, but to make $300, and that's just like kind of like that's a like kind of like a hard projection for it. But it's just to say that and when it comes to your art, or when it comes to like product or anything else that you're putting out, I mean, you can kind of, in my opinion, kind of follow some of the same, not in all cases, but some of the same rules.
hmm hmm I think also like again, this is not about making necessarily every single thing free. That is
Yeah.
not what we're talking about. What we're talking about, there is an aspect of reach to this. There is an aspect of audience building to this. There's also a lot of I think psychology that's also kind of tied in. I was listening to this. There's a design and marketing, more design podcast out there called The Future, which I'm a big fan. They recently had a talk on there by a guy named Daniel Priestley, who was talking about all kinds of just like psychological things I think can be very, very helpful to consider. One of them is like, how long does it take before you start actually considering someone to be a friend? And one of the things that they
Mm.
brought up based on their research is that in general, that border between finding someone as an acquaintance versus when you start actually viewing them as a friend is about 7 hours. It's like once you spend 7 hours with someone in general, your mind starts kind of treating that person with a different level of familiarity. And so
Hmm.
one of the things that he also was doing, like through, it wasn't his research. He was kind of compiling research. So I forget, unfortunately, the name of the researcher, but they were trying to find ways. Are there techniques that you can do to speed up this process and get people more comfortable with you faster? Which I think, from an audience building perspective, is really fundamental. And one of the things that they discovered was that if you can interact with someone in multiple locations, that can help speed up the process. Like I forget all
Yeah.
the nuances of the study, but one of the studies was, for instance, they had people sit down and have a conversation in one location, and then they had another part of the study was they took two people, and instead of having them stay in one location, they would move them around the city. They would end up being in like four different locations, for
Yeah.
like the same amount of duration. And what they found was that by having those different locations, the connections that people established felt deeper to them. And so tying this back into free, you know, you watching this right now, whatever platform that you are watching this on, that's our first point of connection. If you were to find me on a different social, so some people have found us through threads. Well, now they have found us through 2 points. They have found us on threads. They have also found us on YouTube or potentially Facebook and things like that. When we do these sorts of events, for instance, like the residency, when we do features and we do workshops, and we're able to take people from our online settings into these other places, now we're establishing a further point of connection. So what these do, and let's say, for instance, if you create a work, like if you have like for instance, a free book or something like that, that you're directing people through to your website or something like that. Well, now you're
Yeah.
establishing another point of connection. So this is one way that free can work to your advantage if you're using it strategically. If you're like, hey, I was having a discussion uh, on threads with a person because I was making the argument that if you have a print book, something that I personally would encourage you to do would be to either take a book or a section of the book or half the book or whatever and make an audiobook for free. I would argue make the audiobook for free, and a lot of people didn't like that. Some people
Mhm.
get it, but some people don't, which is cool. Um, but what that does is it creates a further point because you can tie that into things. You say, "Hey, this is free. Um, you can access it at on my website and things like that, or pair it with however they purchase one of your books or things like that." Just as kind of like another trying to create another touch point.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that, and it kind of goes outside of the bounds of like just like the art world and like or poetry.
Hmm.
Okay, so a couple weeks ago, our nieces came into town, or actually our nieces are in town, but my my wife's like younger sister was in town, and her and my nieces, they went to like Costco. They really love the samples, and the thing about samples is that for a lot of these brands, they're really well known and really well trusted brands. And so you as somebody who's selling that brand, you might think, well, I'm only losing money uh by giving something away for free that I believe people might trust to buy. But even in that form of like if the brand, if it's coming out with a new line or something kind of new flavor or anything like that, it creates that intrigue. It creates that, interest in something that's new from even somebody that's trusted. And you kind of transition that to somebody who might not be as well known, right? And you might not have a brand that people particularly, just off of hearing your name, associate with this is going to be a great book. And that's a hard buy-in to get because it requires somebody reading the book, and then requires somebody reading the book and then telling other people that hey, this is a book that you should want to read, or if it's not coming directly from you, right? um in a way, open mics kind of form that kind of relationship as well, right? Because it's if you, especially if you have your own poetry book, well, if you have any interest in people taking home your poetry, the open mic, maybe if you are just like an open micer, or maybe you're doing a feature, but a lot of times if you're an open micer, or I would utilize this as an open micer, I would say like, hey, this is one of the poems from the book. And then again, you're creating that intrigue, you're creating that interest around your work in a way that is both organic and it's giving them something that maybe is like a little bit more intense and personal than what they're getting just directly with the book. And so I think it helps them kind of seek the secondary out. And sometimes people kind of shy away from that, but I mean, it's a really good way to make sure that you're pushing the project that you actually want them to take home
Mm.
with them.
I think it's important too, the difference between initiating or making that decision on your own versus like someone hosts an event and they say, "Hey, do you want to read here for free? I'll give you exposure." Like that's not
Yeah.
what we're talking about unless
Well,
you are.
yeah. Yeah, but it's like even with that, it's like it's very important that I think a lot of times people kind of get caught up in the mechanism. So it's just like somebody says, "Hey, you want to perform here? I'll pay you on your post." You're maybe just in the rhythm of I'm just taking whatever opportunity, whatever chance, whatever situation I
Mhm,
can be in, and so you're just going to do it. So it's really important to really somebody whatever the opportunity is, just really thinking about it. Just like you said, I mean, just there is a very large difference between this thing that you're curating and you're like, well, how am I going to get my work out there? How am I going to get
mhm,
people familiar with me as a brand and to associate me with what I want to be associated with, and
mhm,
somebody making that decision for. I mean, nobody's like, I don't know if there's like somewhere in America where they're like, you either perform a poem today or else, right? But
mm,
but yeah, just kind of making sure that you're aware of the choices that you're making with your work and with your art. Yeah.
mhm, mhm. 'Cause there may actually be opportunities where that exposure or something might actually, if it's the right person ask you or if it's the right venue,
Yeah.
the majority of venues and the majority of people doing that are not really out there for your interest. But occasionally one might come up that's like, well, this might actually be where you have to kind of weigh the pros and cons, you know, um, as you're doing that. I think another thing too that kind of going back to the things like YouTube channels and podcasts and blogs is these are platforms that you can grow and kind of grow your influence. The other thing that's happening too is it helps enhance things like your credibility because depending on types of content that you're covering, the if you're bringing on guests, the quality of the guests that you're bringing on,
Yeah.
depending on what you're doing with the content afterwards, like are you kind of transforming the videos into blog posts, are you using it as content for courses and things like that. So it is also a way to kind of start establishing yourself in the field and give yourself a much give your name a wider reach online. So yeah, it's free, but there's also a lot of advantages to it, especially in fact, maybe even only if you're playing the long game. A lot of the strategies that we're talking about are not things that are going to change your writing career in 3 months or even
Yeah.
6 months from now. This is a long game. What's the phrase? It takes 10 years to be an overnight success, right? So this is
Yeah.
we're thinking long term, but if you're able to do that, you're going to put yourself in a position where hey, you have different avenues of income coming in related to writing that together can help support you.
Yeah. I really like that too because I think that you never really know where when something is starting. I think about even when it comes to stuff like photography and things like that. Like probably the journey with photography that I've had probably it extends years before I even had my first DSLR. But because of the specific moments in my life or with my creative journey that kind of aided to that, 5 years into my being a professional photographer, I could probably trace back 20 experiences before that 5 years that would have that have helped me and kind of helped me gain some footing in that field. And so really kind of looking for those opportunities, like being aware of those opportunities when they arise and really seeking out opportunities to really maximize yourself or your brand, because you never really know what what new branch off is going to kind of create those opportunities.
Everything I've learned about just like YouTube and social media has come from my main business. So I teach, and I would say at this point, probably over half of the students I have are directly connected to the fact that I have a pronunciation YouTube channel,
Nice.
or just like social media presence. So it's like, and I'm doing it for what, like five-ish years now. So it's like, again, this wasn't necessarily happening before, but it has directly had an impact on my life right now. It does
Yeah.
things. So, for instance, if I launch like a video course, I know, okay, I can expect a couple people to buy this video course. Or if I launch a program, I can expect a couple of people to get this program, or things like that. That if I hadn't started this sort of journey by giving my knowledge and my experience out there for free, never would have happened. And so this goes back to your point. You just never know.
Yeah.
You just don't know who your content's reaching. You
Yeah.
just don't know.
Yeah, and kind of knowing, and I mean, and you probably have a really much better grasp of this than a lot of people that I know as well. Just like this idea that you have to really understand, where you are in that process and where you are in like your product phase, where you are in your brand phase, and where you are with your relationship to your audience and kind of cultivating your audience. Because I think a lot of people they they're looking at making money as a system of just setting a price on things that you want to sell and then being like just being staunch on that price. And so uh this was this was years ago. This is like a small, like, it's not a tangent, but it's like it's relative. So like years ago, I'm working, I do I was at an open mic. It was at the Ness Open Mic Experience. Shout out to everybody that knows about the Ness Open Mic Experience. But so guy comes in, and this is his first time ever going to the Ness Open Mic Experience. And he comes in, and he comes up to the door, and it's $5 at the door, right? And so we tell him, or actually the person that was working at the door, she tells him $5 at the door. He says, "Oh, well, I've been doing poetry for, I don't know." Uh, he said like 20 years, but like, whenever somebody starts saying like, "Okay, when did you start poetry?" and then they're like, "Oh, like when I was in kindergarten," I'm like, "Okay, yeah, like." We all had that assignment. I'm asking. We were all in Miss Mariotti's class. I remember you. But no, it's like he was just like, yeah, like, I've been doing poetry for a really long time. Like I would be a good feature. Like if you guys want me to feature, I can, like, tell you my price, or so. It was something along that lines, and it was just
Mm.
it was an odd kind of conversation because we know, a lot of traveling performers, and I know at that time, if I don't have an actual relationship with them, I at least know of most of the people in Columbus that are like, traveling doing poetry, or like have, a lot of like, credentials when it comes to the, like, their poetry performances. So, or when it comes to, what they're doing as far as poetry. So for him to come in and say that, I was just like, oh, like, you must not be either EA must not be local, or like, you must be whatever. So he we ended up telling him like, well, it's $5 to get in. You can perform if people like, if we see if he sees something, namely if the host, if the host and creator JG sees something, you people have booked features in that exact way before. And he was just, nah, no, I've been doing it for too long to, I don't pay to get into open mics. And he left. And here's the thing, like, I've never seen this guy again in my life. uh, but it's just, I think that person, I think, treated themselves in the poetry space the same, and maybe to a much grander scale, but a lot of other poets kind of treat themselves in the poetry space the same exact way, which your price is your price. And so if you're like, hey, I'm not going to perform at your show for anything less than $10,000, like that, you can go down with the ship. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely do it. But I'm like, if nobody's ever seen you perform, then you're you could possibly be the best performer anybody's ever seen in their entire lives, right? You might be the next coming of Shakespeare, which it neither here knows. You could be the next coming of Shakespeare. Um, oh, look at the board! Ah, look at that. But if people don't have proof of concept, if people don't have in something out there that kind of shows them that you are kind of a big deal or somebody that's really impactful, then it's going to be really hard to sell them on that. So yeah, there's that. Again, shout out if that guy is like some kind of super big famous poet that I've never met before, then I'm sorry. but but my suspicion is that it was just somebody who he's written a lot of poems and he's decided that he's great, and hey, I'm not going to settle for paying a door price, which again, kind of being able to assess where you are in that process, because there's absolutely people that are on that level, right? There's absolutely people that I would never, if I saw them walking into an open mic that I'm running, it's like, it's good for me to have you in here. So like, I'm not, you know what I mean? Like it just makes the most sense. I'm sure you could probably like, if we've seen like, I don't even know who comparable. Let's not get into anybody specific. It's just to say that if we like, there's certain people that if you saw them, you'd be like, oh, it's good that you're here at my establishment.
If I was running a show and Hanif walked through the door, I was like, all right, Hanif, you can.
Yeah, listen. I was gonna say Hanif like first, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to put him on. But yeah, if Hanif walks in, it's like, okay, clearly, okay. I very much so want you to read your poem. But yeah.
Actually, one of the things that came up too with a lot of the talk that I had with people, especially again with regards to audiobooks and books, people are like, oh, well, you can just send them to the library. Just direct them to the library. Audiobooks and books are free at the library. Sure. I mean, that certainly could be the approach you take. I get it. One of the things that makes me nervous about that is you're adding another step, because it's like I'm holding the thing and I'm like, oh, this thing, oh, you can go get it over there. Go there. Don't get it here. Go over there. Um, it creates another point of friction. It's like, when you have a website and let's say you want people to do something on your website, you don't want to hide it behind like 30 different menus. It's wild. If you ever like see like bounce rates and things like that, it's wild how the percentage just drops each time you require someone to click. And even if like you're directing them to like an online website for the library, okay, so like let's say they find out you have an audiobook on your own website.
Yeah.
They reach out to you and say, hey, can I get this audiobook for free? You say no, go to this link. So then they have to go to this other link. They have to go to the library page. They have to search on the search tab. They have to find your book. They have to get their library. We're adding a lot of steps. Whereas if I had, for instance, again, like the audiobook for free on my website, I would say, oh, I could even put it on my landing page. Because I mean, honestly, why would put it on my homepage? I want people like the minute they're on it to be like, yo, click engage with my work here, so it's like I totally understand the library approach, but that is something that kind of makes me a little bit nervous, because then you're also expecting the other person to follow through, and maybe they will, maybe they won't. I could potentially lose a reader.
I mean, you're probably going to lose a lot, a lot. But just, I mean, you got to think about it. Everybody that would go, that might be too general. Most of the people that would go to the library to check out a book would quicker go directly to the source in order to get whatever the content. They probably have it a lot more readily available to them, right? So, or like they would go to the library like website. That is, it's like if they're already on your social media, if they're already on your website, if they're already where you've directed them to go, sending them away somewhere is just it's creating, okay, now you have to be the kind of person that would be willing to click through multiple things in order to get there. And a lot of people, it's going to be hard for them to, even if you told them like, okay, and you can enter this contest to win $10,000. There are 3 questions in and they're like, okay, all right, just keep it, buddy. So
But
Yeah,
that is a real thing.
yeah,
And then like you also lose another vehicle too, because it's like, okay, so my audiobook is free. Oh, but to get my audiobook, you have to sign up for my newsletter. Or to get my
yeah.
audiobook, you have to give me your email. Or to get my audiobook, um, maybe it's not anything like that. Maybe it's like, oh, thank you so much for getting my free downloadable audiobook. By the way, here's a coupon to get 25% off this thing. You know what? So it's like I'm keeping them in my ecosystem.
Yeah.
You're in my system now. You know, and if I didn't have that free audiobook, maybe you wouldn't have stayed. Maybe if I send you to the library, now you're in the library system. You know what I mean? Like they're taking you. I want you to be with me as long as I can keep you with me. I want you to see all those other things I have to offer, and there's other things too. So for instance,
That's how the plot to
mhm,
Misery took place.
well, other things too, because like if I have my own, I want to keep using the audiobook example. So if I make
Yeah.
my own audiobook based off of my book, and I keep it on my system, I can do whatever I want with that audiobook. I can do like a weekly live stream. Like instead of having it as like a whole like audiobook together, it's like no, every week I'm going to read for you guys a page from my book or a chapter from my book. And then at the end I'm going to compile that. And now I'm going to put that all together in a thing. And maybe I'll do a video version too. So I'll do kind of like what we're doing. So we had the video and then we can strip the audio. Or maybe something
Mm.
I can do is in the middle of my audiobook, I can also take a pause and tell you about other things I have, kind of like mini advertisements or things like that. You want to do it in a way that's aesthetically pleasing as much as possible and things like that. It's just there's a lot more things I can do in my own audiobook than I don't know what the restrictions are for like audiobooks for libraries and things like that. But I imagine it's different. Other things I can do too, I can do collaborations. Like I can bring in friends, I can do collaborations with other people doing other audiobooks. Um
Yeah.
and things like I think there's a lot more interesting projects that you can do if you're willing to take it on as on your own, personally.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, uh, and from what I'm hearing, I mean, even in the several examples that you even cited, the readiness and the mobility that you have with your own content to be able to act on ideas as opposed to funneling through somewhere else, where now it's like, okay, maybe in order to make any kind of change or to do some kind of other content, I have to make a call or I have to write an email or I
Mm,
have to like go to customer support and try to figure something else out. It's like
mhm,
if you're the one that's in control, yeah, maybe there's a little bit of a learning curve as far as you learning how to manipulate this content and try to bring the most out of it. But that's the best thing about kind of controlling your own network and controlling the
mhm,
how, like, your own content, that you now you're the one who you're the only barrier to entry. So if you wake up at 2 a.m. and you're like, oh my gosh, like this was this would be a really really great idea, let me work on it right now so it's ready at 10 a.m. You know what I mean? I mean,
mhm,
if you're a madman and you start working at 2 a.m., right? So like if that's the case, then like you can actually do that and you can push, you can push yourself in any direction that you want. And I think that's a freedom that seems really really difficult at the beginning. And it's always the thing is, it's always
mhm,
difficult at the beginning. It's always more
mhm,
at the beginning, but that it's more at the beginning so that later on when you're 5 years in, right, and you are, and I mean it's going to look different 10 years in, it's going to look different 15 years in,
mhm,
right, and you're going to look back at these times, you're going to think, man, I thought it was so difficult to get these small things accomplished that
mm,
now what my my AI just does in 10
mhm.
minutes
Yeah, facts. Yeah.
or or anything like that. But so yeah.
Mhm. One of the things I mentioned too is another strategy that's really helpful. That's also tied into free. And it's also something that I mentioned earlier again, like the marketer again, Daniel Presley or Priestley, that he mentioned is the importance of having something that's recurring and regular, preferably on, for instance, like a weekly basis. One of the examples he gives is that there was this guy when he was growing up who would always put like a weekly ad in the paper for like, oh, learn about retirement savings. Um, like every single week, every single Saturday, same ad. And so he actually went to one of these workshops and the guy, it's a free workshop, and the guy gives people just kind of like basic like information about saving for retirement. And then at the end of the workshop, he said that he actually went twice. So the first time he said, just regularly pulling in like 5-10 people. It's not like crazy crowds, but that's actually a pretty good number. And then at the end, he said, "Hey, if you want to have a one-on-one session with me, write down your email address on this like notepad." So people would do that. The guy had this strategy like every single Saturday for like 25 years. He had this meeting that people would go to for free and wrote down their email addresses. And when he retired, he sold his company for like $50 million, something like that. I don't remember the exact number. And people asked him, "Hey, what's your secret?" He's like, "I just did the same thing over and over again." So also like the consistency aspect of it, but the consistency of having something that's regular that you're able to give value to people often. So again, if we're going back to, for instance, the audiobook example, you know, maybe if you paired creating the audiobook with other people who are also creating an audiobook, so like you make it almost like a conversation, like a weekly conversation, like, hey, every week we're going to spend 10 minutes of me reading my audiobook, 10 minutes of you reading your audiobook, and then 10 minutes of us just having a discussion about audiobooks. You know what I mean? Something like that. And we do that every single day for, or not every single day, but every single week. Every single day would be wild.
Yeah, every single
You down?
day
You want to do that?
for the rest of our lives.
Doing that once a week, every week. Doing that for like 5 years. Are you willing to commit to something like that and seeing what's able to grow from it? I think that collaboration is another thing that really can build. I know it's not. I know we all want to get paid for things. I get it. But we also have to establish the most important thing before you get paid. You have to establish value. You get paid based on the value you're giving to people. And just because you wrote a book doesn't mean you're giving value to people. You gave value to yourself because the book was important to you. What's your book doing to impact other people's lives? And by the free is your one mechanism you can use to demonstrate that value of what you've done to people.
Yeah. And that's a really good I think message, especially to people that are just now starting or just now beginning
Mm,
something. That idea that, you added value to yourself. Like this was an important venture for you. This is something that you thought of. This is your brainchild. So and actually doing it and executing it, this was something that was good for you. Now let's see if this actually provides some real value, personal value to somebody else, because that's kind of the buy-in that you have to get for really anything. Like, what is if your audience or if your potential customer base really feels a strong personal value to your product or whatever your service that you're offering.
hmm 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 Any questions about anything that we've talked so far in terms of strategy and things like that? This is the time.
Well, let me ask you. I mean, so like you are a person that uh you started multiple YouTube channels. You are a person that you've created content for both. You've created merch for both. We
It's
gotta.
true.
I got it. My shirt is in the other
I was
room.
wearing it yesterday when I was doing like the recording stuff. Yeah.
We're gonna like just slowly like get like just more and more content, like more and more gear, and then it's just gonna be just like a full body suit that just says diverse is poetry, but we won't be able to say poems.
I mean, eventually people are going to be giving us gear, man. Just saying.
Wait, why would they be giving us gear?
Because they want us to show it to people.
Oh, I
You
thought
just
you.
wait.
I
Not,
thought you. I thought
not
you
like
meant like
hey,
they're gonna give
you want
us.
these old shoes?
You want?
You want?
No, I thought you. I thought you were saying like they're gonna
Really,
give
you
us
want
like diverse
these?
poetry, like merch. Like here's some diverse poetry. Like that's us.
No, but we could probably
But
do
yeah,
like some. We could do like some contests and things like that. Like, hey, design a
yeah.
T-shirt for us or something like that, and we'll make it into a
Let's
shirt.
do it.
Um,
But so I mean, what are your thoughts on how would I put this? Strengthening the brand, as it were. How would you really shore up your brand if you are somebody who's just now
Mm,
starting?
mhm, mhm. I think one you got to figure out what's separating you from other people. So, for instance,
Yeah,
I'll give the example. So, I'm an ESL teacher, so I'm going to give that example. So, my YouTube channel is dedicated to pronunciation and how I needed to create separation from other pronunciation channels because there are a lot. There's tons of English channels and there's also a lot of pronunciation channels out there.
yeah,
And so, what I've seen with a lot of pronunciation channels is they're very focused on like mouth position stuff,
yeah,
which is very interesting because when I was working with students, I started off also kind of focusing on mouth position stuff as well. But then I was like, yeah, mouth position wise, the students were doing everything right, but the sound was still a little bit off. So I was like, something has to be different. Another, not to like turn this into a pronunciation class, but like if you are watching this and you see my lips, you can say a sentence like this with like really exaggerated mouth movements, or you can say a sentence like this and barely move your lips at all, and both of them are equally understandable. So I was like, there have to be more things at play. So one of the things that I started doing was I identified four things that I thought and continue to think are key
mhm,
to a natural sound when people are speaking in American English in North America. And so, and these four things are very different than what other pronunciation channels are. So from a writing perspective, let's talk about the channel. So
yeah,
how is the channel separating itself from a lot of poetry channels? First of all, the quality, for instance, of in general, like our live streams and videos and audios and things like that. If you guys have seen a lot of other poetry channels out there, I don't know, in general, like for like live streams and things like that, I like the quality of our production. Um, Also in terms of a lot of poetry channels, what are they doing? Like when they're recording poets reading, a lot of times kind of your almost like stereotypical kind of like black background person in front of a microphone, things like that. So
yeah,
times where we've had people reading, we've tried to mix that up. Um, a lot of poetry channels are centered around an individual. Our is focused around an entire kind of brand. This isn't Jeff and Matthias's poetry channel. This is the verses. So we have something that's a little bit larger than an individual poet, which means that in some ways that's a little bit, I think, more freeing because bringing on additional voices, we've done different workshops,
yeah,
bringing on other people that are providing the content and things like that. Um, we're covering elements of craft that other thing on. We're dedicating to underrepresented voices. You know, a lot of if you see videos featuring other poets or other people discussing poetry, typically they're going to be black. That's another part of our mission. Um, and then other things we're doing. We started we have our poetry journal, like we have collective. We're doing the residency. We're doing all kinds of little things like that, workshops. We had Quatrain, which was a series of 4 workshops. We've organized poetry retreats. So what we're doing is we're just, I feel like what we're doing compared to a lot of other poetry channels out there is a lot more encompassing of different craft elements of poetry. Um, for the education piece, and then we also spend a decent amount of time talking about kind of writing in business and trying to, as we learn more about business and turning this into a platform that develops itself into something that sustains itself. We're kind of, we're teaching you things as we're learning things, so we also kind of have that perspective too. So I think those are all things that are separating us from a lot of the other poetry resources that you find on YouTube, in my opinion.
that's good. And I really like, and one of the things I really appreciate, even when we're talking about, so I wasn't able to go yesterday, but just we are talking about as far as like doing like poem recordings. I think a lot of people, not only people kind of underestimate the real value there is to having a really high quality recording or a really high quality kind of
Yes.
video
Facts.
of your content. And the thing is, it's sought after because I think, let's say like button poetry. I think for a really long time it was kind of like the largest, and it is still really big, right? But it's like the only game in town where you really were able to consistently see really really good production and really well produced poems
Hmm.
online, right? So you see
Yeah.
that really clear kind of quarter cut, like directly up at
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
the poet catty corner to the right or left. You
Right.
see that visual against like kind of the black background and really excellent audio. You're like, yeah, that's like button poetry, right? Now then you have like other poetry brands that like they're like Voices of Power right about now, like a
Yeah.
lot of like brands that were producing or kind of upping their production and kind of bringing things out there. And I
Hmm.
think about that a lot because I think about there was a time in Columbus where there was an open mic pretty much literally like every night, right? And if there was somebody that was dedicated to really pushing Columbus, right? Really pushing like Ohio, or I mean, let's not bring it out to Ohio. Let's bring it out to just Columbus, just because while I'm talking about Columbus, right? But if you're really interested, you could really do something like that for like a Columbus-based YouTube channel in a way,
Hmm.
because I think that even if you're not talking about having the uh let's not necessarily talk about maybe like the quality of the poems because that's going to be neither here nor there, right? It's just the fact of having really good production behind your poem, really good production behind your community, right? Because now you can have this space where everybody wants to you have a really good thriving poetry community in your city, but everybody wants to go to this show that they're like, they're gonna post a poem on Instagram every day. They're gonna post a poem on
Hmm.
YouTube every day,
Hmm.
and it's gonna be from the countless of poems that they have at their shows. And
Hmm.
I know for certain that as they're growing and as they're kind of accumulating more and more followers and stuff like that, there is some visibility on this brand, which is
Hmm.
visibility to Columbus poetry. And I know that's happening in other cities now, like namely like Philly. It,
Represent.
shout out to Philly. I know, like, because like Voices of Power, right? So it's just this idea that and I'm sure there's ways to really kind of make that happen in Columbus as well. I don't think that Columbus's scene is. I think the people that are performing more often on Columbus's scene aren't necessarily thinking about oh, like how do I push this online. I guess there's a few people that do that, but I think there could be more of that for sure.
Yep. Yeah. By the way, one of the things that Matthias is referencing, if you go to our website, diversitypoetry.com, we actually have a link now for Stanza Studios, where basically we help you create video content around your work. I'm actually working with a poet right now on a series of probably about 10 videos, micro poems. So it's not crazy long, but that's definitely something interested too. Because video is really important. I don't know if you guys have been watching, paying attention to like socials, but every social platform nowadays pretty much is pushing video, 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 specifically vertical video. Um, and just some little things too. Typically like yeah, I know a lot of people are using their phones and things like that, but one of the things too, like if you're really interested in things like like your blurry background and things like that, it's going to be something that phones, if they do it, a lot of times it's kind of artificial. It's not actually done with the
Yeah.
lens. It's a lot more AI generated, which means that it's not perfect. Things like that.
I don't know
And
what
just a
Allen
lot.
Iverson has to do with your video production, but I mean,
That's
I guess he could help.
that's look. Someone pays you. Actually, I have my Philly shirt on too. I don't know if you my
Oh,
Sixer shirt.
shout out. Trust the
Look at us.
process.
Look at us. Yeah, I mean, in the words of yes.
That's you're not gonna hear that too much.
But
Shout out to Philly. I'll see you guys in the playoffs in
that's
2032.
it was still still making playoffs. My God. Um,
All right.
All right. Well, we're starting to get derailed. There are a couple other things that I want to talk about, but before we do that,
You got to save that for like October so we could do like a scary prompt and then we could use that because that's like
nope,
that's
it's gonna
spooky.
stay with that. It's gonna stay with that. We have not seen all of our poems. I think we you read this one, right?
I read that one. Yep.
I'm next. Okay, it's from Angie
I
Pants.
think I meant to say something
755.
funny here. Classic.
Hold your tongue. Hold the peace. Something's off. I can't speak. Hold my tongue. Hold on tight. Something's wrong. I can't fight. Hold the line. Tell the lie. See me clear. Watch me hide. Hold me down. So slippery. All that's left is the mystery.
The
Angie
mystery.
Pants 755. Thank you so much for
Thanks,
replying to our
Angie.
prompts. We appreciate you.
I appreciate
You get
it.
inside writer reader.
Inside writer reader. Fairly direct with the prompt. This poem is not me, for I'm not what you want me to be. I am not your fantasy or lover. I am shackled I am shackled instead of free. My words are purely escapist. My dreams and thoughts are floating high.
Oh
Oh,
God.
there was
Sorry. There we go. Sorry. My bad. Rewind.
I almost started at the beginning of that stanza. My words are purely escapist. My dreams and thoughts are floating highs. For I am not my poems. My poetry is full of disguise. My verses contain messages, contain meanings and hope for love. I write when I am buried. I write for those above. Yet, if I am not my poems, and you are neither yours, then why do we keep on writing all these thoughts of ours explored? Author underscore S.
Yes. That reminds me of like the Transformers movie, like the guy like the first time Sam finds like the glasses and then like the police car transforms and pounces on him. Are you Wiki? It's like
Are you Samuel? Do
the yeah,
you
that
have the
one.
cube? Where is the cube?
You got it. So good.
That's a good reference to
uh,
the first
dum dum dum
Transformers.
dum. Poetess. Poetess or poetess? How would you
Wait,
poetess, right? Poetess. Pixie poetess.
yeah, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, sure,
Yeah,
yeah,
see,
yeah,
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 you're a poet. See,
yeah,
write
yeah.
a
All right,
stanza. See,
yeah, yeah. Hungry fawn. My teeth steal soft nips from every bush I find, but each day there is less to eat. As daylight grows scarce, the hunt for tender grass and memory of sweet rosebuds carries us down the smooth black path. It is impossible to keep hooves silent, the ground hard as bone. Good visuals
oh,
there.
oh, really
Very
good.
rich.
I like
Very
that.
rich. Yeah.
Hungry fawn.
Yeah.
You think that's what the
Hungry
fawn are
fawn.
thinking when they're out there, thinking they're enjoying life? I'm gonna imagine so. There's a lot of deer in our area, so that's that's fair. I respect that. I respect the crickets when they're fair. All right. So who's Sarah Joy Dean? This two-parter. Okay. I search for God in the blues. I spend my nights sometimes here, sometimes there, blowing smoke ring prayers to heaven. Another night, another proposition. I pay penance on the piano for sins I have yet to commit. Even patron watchers, wait, uh, even patron watches me walk as though a brush against the hem of my silk stocking might heal them, but damn them all. I blot my lipstick and see Mother Mary on my napkin. I warble an ephemeral dream to see only soggy Abe at the bottom of the jar. I am no Venus. Well, I'm no Venus. I'm no star. I search for God in the blues.
I like that. I'm no Venus. I'm no star.
Oh, solid.
That's what's up.
I'm gonna bring this up here. There. That's better.
Sorry to have it too small. This is Elsha Hawk. I think it's Elsha. Is it Isha? Elsha. I think it's L. I saw my body. I said I saw my body.
Like, why did you say that? I saw my body.
I said,
I saw my body.
guys, did you see this?
Those, like, in Futurama when they're like all in like those like glass jars, like all the presidents are in those like glass jars. The heads are in the glass jars. I saw my body.
Whenever I think of Futurama, I think of like the suicide booth, and then at the end it has like the tiny thing that like comes out, and it's like, "You are now dead." It's like,
and he thought it was just a regular phone booth. I'm sorry, Elsha Hawk, for this is not where your poem was supposed to go.
This is a very opposite direction. Yes, let's to return to the light. I saw my body through outside eyes, going through the motions, the slumped shoulders, the faded smile, limp hair at the close of a workday. I saw the arms pull her into an embrace, she stiffly leaning against a torso, a gift of love, support she took for granted, haunted eyes staring off. I felt cold emanating from her. A closed off, emotionless void. I knew then this girl could not go on a race against time to heal the past. All right.
Wait, what were these? What were the notes here? Go.
Pass you on to Zealous Spark. I think we can wrap up the last couple months.
Oh, I just wanted to see. Hold on.
I said, and I quote, "Which way?"
Wait, I'm sorry. I think are we on a time delay from each other?
I don't know. Are we?
Yeah, we definitely
we're back.
are.
Are we back? Are we not back? All right. Well, I'm gonna go down to
I'll read the last poem. Yeah, go ahead. I'll read the last one.
Okay.
All right. Sometimes I feel like I am not myself, and it's hard. I feel like I am society, like I am my peers, like I am my ancestors and my children. I am all of you whispering in my ear about values, about beliefs, about limitations, about expectations and insecurities. Like a demanding boss. Sometimes I feel like I am like in comment counts, grades, age, and account balances. Where did my identity go? Was it ever mine? Will I ever claim it? Or is the haystack too big? Will the real me ever stand up?
I can't get Eminem out of my head with that.
As soon as I said it. And I'm proud to be out of my mind and out of control one more time like this. Now, how does it go?
I'm sorry if that ruined the poem.
Yeah, you definitely ruined the poem. That was a good poem.
Oh, we got decent. Let's I'm going to take a break from those just for a moment. There are a couple more that we had to get to if we have time. I want to talk about just one other strategy. Let me just check my notes. Yeah, there's one other strategy that I think it's not directly like a free strategy, but it's one you compare with like free.
Yeah,
Especially like if you're creating video content or blog content or um, even social media post content, and this is affiliate marketing. Matthias, what do you know about affiliate marketing?
not as much as I should know, I suppose. Probably not much. Go ahead and explain it to the people.
Okay, no, that's fine. So affiliate marketing is not like it's not a sponsorship. Some people kind of confuse it with sponsorship. It's not a sponsorship. Affiliate marketing is, and it's wild. There's all kinds of products. Like for instance, right now the platform that we're using to do this live stream, this platform is called StreamYard. Um, and what I can do, for instance, if let's say I like StreamYard's product, and I do, it helps us out a lot.
Sure
Um,
does.
so what I can do is I can tell other people about StreamYard, and I can give them a link, and if they click that link, then I can get, especially like if they click the link and they make a purchase of some type, I can get a commission on that. And so that's kind of the general basis of affiliate marketing. It's not a sponsorship because they're not paying you. It's more like a referral type of thing. Um, but what you can do is you can almost treat it like a sponsorship type thing. Like if you make a dedicated video, like if I again we're doing like streamer, like I found the best live streaming platform. Like if I made a video about that and I just made a video kind of highlighting features about StreamYard I like, and then I included a link in that video to be like, hey guys, if you're enjoying this, follow this link, and explore StreamYard on your own. Well, then what I can do is I can start generating income from that. That's kind of the
Yeah.
basis of affiliate marketing. We're in writing, something that we have not done. I'll be honest, we haven't explored affiliate marketing much at this point. Part of that's just from time issues. Affiliate marketing is not something that, like, if you just do it with like one thing, it's going to make you a lot of money. Like might make you like $5 maybe a month, depending on how many people you get buying it. It's one of those things that if you start connecting with lots of other things, it can become pretty substantial, especially if you make it a part of your strategy. And this is where, again, if you make something that is free, quote unquote, but you can tie it into something that's affiliate related, um, especially if it's something that's giving value to people. So it's reaching more people and they're interested in it and they're trusting you. This is something that you can do to start building things up. Affiliate marketing is, depending on the service that you're doing it for. So some are better than others.
Yeah.
Um, for instance, if there's some sort of application or something that you're using, like for instance, one thing I'm doing on Threads right now is I'm asking people what are some writing applications that people are doing. So there's some usual suspects, there's like Grammarly and things like that. A lot of these programs actually do have affiliate programs. And if they don't directly have one, what you can do is you can go to their website and you can directly ask them, like, hey, do you guys have an affiliate program? For instance, that's something I've done recently with was it Scrivener? Um, so I'm trying to figure out something with that related to affiliate marketing. Um, Subscription services can be nice, depends on the service, because if someone subscribes monthly, what some affiliate programs do is every time that someone else re-ups, like every month, you can get a percentage of that. So it's not just
Yeah.
like a one-time thing, but it's like, oh wow, I can get $1 every time this person signs up again for another month. And if I'm able to do 10 people, hey, that's $10. Yeah, and like, and so on and so forth. So that's something to consider. Not all programs are like that, so you need to find the right one. Um, Other sorts of affiliate programs that might be worth looking into. Amazon affiliate program is probably one of the more famous ones.
Yeah.
I don't know if it still operates this way, but the way it used to operate was, let's say you send someone to Amazon through your affiliate link, and inside their cart, they have this like $1,000 grill or something like that. Well, and let's say they purchased that in addition to and maybe they don't even buy the thing that you sent them for, but they buy that grill. Well, then Amazon in the past, again, I don't know if they're still doing this. In the past, they would give you a percentage of that commission, even though
Mm.
you have nothing to do with the grill. but because you just kind of brought them
I
to your
had something to
website.
do with the girl. It was
Let's be
I
honest,
put the girl. It was me.
it was totally I was entirely responsible. I'm making that money. Yeah.
It was,
Um,
Amazon contact me. It was
yeah.
me.
So Amazon had one of the more lucrative ones. There were some
Yeah.
restrictions, like you had to get a certain number of people a month and things like that. I don't know what their current situations are. Other ones, though, again, from a writing perspective, again, something I'm exploring right now is I'm looking at different applications, writing applications, um, and trying to see if I can get their teams to come on and do like live streams or demos or things like that to help people. Um, Another one too, different types of bookstores or things like that. I mean, writers are generally buying books a lot, so that could be another opportunity to consider as well.
Yeah, I heard about the. Well, I mean, I had never done anything with the Amazon affiliate marketing or like doing like an Amazon partnership, but a couple of the people that I know, they kind of do some things with like Depop, and they do things with like Amazon as well. They
Mhm.
have like some products and things like that. I think it might be something similar. I don't know what the percentages are. Like the percentages might be a little bit lower than. Is the handle broken off of that cup?
Oh yeah, totally. It's definitely broken.
It's like every time you picked up the cup, it's like searing your hand.
Yeah.
Oh my god! All
Yeah.
right, that's
Apparently, with mugs, you're not supposed to like slam them hard. Apparently, it's not a good thing for a mug. Who would have known?
yeah. You just like, Your Honor, and then
My gavel, sir. That is a coffee mug.
Sir, why was it just whipped cream inside of your? I was.
You're wearing a bathrobe. That's not a judge.
This is a Sabaro, sir. Can you please leave? It's closing time. And this mall has not been existing for 15 years.
Dag. Oh, too soon. Dag. Oh my gosh.
Oh man. Shout out to Eastland. But yeah, so yeah, it's just that I think that I don't know, the percentages might be off, but it's just to say that we had like there are a lot of opportunities to find products, and and correct me if I'm wrong. So it's always best to find products that have like a synergy with your message or the things that you're doing, or like at least like a brand. That way there is a selling point for it. Maybe it's not necessarily. I mean, I know like a lot of the creators that I've watched that do affiliate marketing, there's typically at the very least branding that's somewhat in line. Like, if you're doing something that is completely left field, and this is kind of like a lot of the people that I know that like do like comic book stuff, you can't it's going to be really hard to do things that are conflicting with your brand, because your audience is not the people that are necessarily going to be interested in
Yeah.
the
I
product.
wouldn't personally like put, hey, by the way, guys, here's the affiliate links for like all the tech stuff I have. Like that's not. I might do like a one-off video just to talk about tech I use to create writing videos and things like that. But in
Yeah.
general, like for most of my videos, that's not going to be practical. That's why I'm trying to focus on more like the writing-based apps and things like that people are using.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. An important aspect of it.
Yeah. But yeah, so in terms of like the free stuff, that kind of just discusses some of the strategies and things like that. I think the biggest takeaway is that the biggest takeaway for me is don't be afraid of the word free. Free by itself is a tool. You can use it, to devalue your work and your art for sure. But I think if you use it strategically, it can actually be something that boosts it.
That's what America said.
That's. I mean, it's just about trying to be like creative with it, right? Like just don't. I think a lot of times we have these kind of like blueprints about how things work, for the writing industry, but there's things that have come out in the last even just like 5 years and sooner that give us so many more opportunities than what we had, 10 years ago or in the 90s and things like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Want to wrap up some poems and then call it a day?
Let's wrap it up. I like it.
All right.
And when are we and for this segment as well, for the prompt segment, how often are we going to be doing? We said every week, right?
Yeah. You have to do your just like the free thing we talked about. You need a weekly recurring
A
thing.
weekly reoccurring thing.
Weekly
That's how
recurring
often I
thing.
see my kids. I just see them like the once a
Uh,
week, and then I just kind of let them go. I have no kids, guys. For anybody else, well, red flag. You think that's too much? You think there's being too much of me?
Oh my gosh.
I'll reduce it.
It's from Duck Crossing Homeschool, who's been great on threads. They've been super friendly. Um, I don't belong to me. Occupied, infested, systems altered for his survival. I'm not myself. Unfamiliar, morphing, violently adapting, mirrors unreliable. It's hard being me. Yielded, resisting, expecting transcendence, remaining desirable. All right.
Mm.
Got a poem.
That was a very fun way to start the day. It was. Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Underscore sunstraight.
Tirade. I think it's Sun's tirade.
Sun's tirade.
Sun's
Oh,
tirade.
I like just
Sun's.
stop at sun.
Oh,
But okay,
oh, you
Sun's
butchered
tirade.
that. No, I'm just
I messed that part up. This bodes well for what happens now.
Now on to the poem.
Now on
It's
to
gonna be
reading
great.
your work.
I see no potential issues here. No potential issue.
I saw my body.
Hey guys, this is weird.
Okay. What do you mean? I saw my body. This is not my face.
Yeah, I was about to say this first line is very much in a very similar
Okay,
vein.
Okay. This is not my face, and these are not my eyes, my hands. They've seen sickness. They've held life. I am the sum of the parts of all that have come before me. I am their love made manifest.
Crushed it.
Yeah.
Crushed it.
Every word, every one of those.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you about nature strips. Or is it nature
Delicious.
strips like the verb? It's like,
That sounds like a snack. I
nature
did
strip.
that
Hey,
in
my
some
neighbor.
ranch.
His lawn is overgrown. His nature strip. And darker weeds throw lighter weeds into sharp relief. He'd mow, but he knows he'll churn up deeper grief. Wilder breeds ran rampant long ago through his front lawn. He passed, but never rescued couch, buffalo, and fescue from weeping meadow grass. I remember this poem. This is a poem that feels like it has a form. I was talking with him about this or them, and I was like, this. It feels like I have a form, but I don't know what form it is. The acoustics are very interesting. I'm a sucker for a nature poem, though. I gave a very apt oral reading, Matthias.
Yeah, that was nice.
Was last time
Soothing.
so told you that? Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. I just read Frito-Lay bags in the middle of 7-Eleven, and people are like, "This guy knows what he's doing. This guy got a handle on it."
I just try to make people think I'm smart because I read Snapple lids.
But then I say them like I'm not reading Snapple lids. I read the Snapple lid, but then I'll just like say it like regular information. You know exactly giants out of a kangaroo's pouch? See how educated I sounded just now? You never know. All right. Pronto Bard. Yeah, that feels like what it should be. All right. I am the unplayed jazz that clutters the page, choking its staves with tangled blotches. I gotta make this larger. Hold on.
I can do that too.
No, it's I just had to win. No, this is good. This was good. I just had the window too small. Blotches, the wailing laments that lodge in the throat, the cut up words that can form no speeches. I am discarded poems, the fits and starts of being cruelly disposed of in creation, the voice of everyone and no one, the supporting cast not shown to others. Mourn me, yet do not weep, for I'll form the heart of something purer, and my shattered dreams reconstructed will set to found the muse of their author.
I totally read cruelly disposed of in cremation, and that changed everything.
What?
Cruelly in the middle of the poem. What line is it? Line 6, 7.
Oh, cruelly
Of
disposed
being
of and
cruelly
create.
disposed of
Yeah.
in cremation.
You mean creation?
I read it as cremation.
You read cremation.
Cruelly disposed because it fit. Cruelly disposed of in cremation. I was like, yes, I'm here for that. Yes, we will burn.
Never visit Jeff.
That is your warning. Did I tell you I'm hosting a residency?
Please come to this home that I've rented out for you in the dead of winter. That is how misery started.
All right. Cool. So hopefully you guys let us know your thoughts on free. How are you utilizing free in your own writing world and career? What are your thoughts on it? Is it something you shun away from? Is it something you're scared of, or is it something you embrace? Would love to know your stances. Some other things too. Again, we are right now kind of just building up our wait list for the announcement of the application opening for our residency, which again will be held December 8th through December 10th. We're selecting 2 poets. Submission fees will be $20. I'm thinking of doing like an early bird thing. People sign up early for it. But what I might do, here's what I'll probably do. I'll probably do like an early bird thing, but I'm probably just going to let people know who sign up on the board. So, because we're trying to build our touch points, guys. So sign up on the board if that sounds like something you're interested in. And that's all I got. Oh, we need to think of a prompt. I'll post the prompts later. Unless did you have a prompt?
Well, we shouldn't say it on here. We should let they'll find out the prompt on Threads.
You'll find out on Threads.
You'll find out. See more on Threads.
Yeah, you'll find
See more on Threads. Shout out to everybody. Clap it up for yourselves if you participated in the prompt. That was really cool to see everybody interact. And hopefully for this next prompt, me and Jeff will be as prompt.
Yeah, I think we'll have to like select like 3 or something like that. There's a lot. Yeah. Anyways, that's all we got. My name is Jeff.
My name is Matthias.
We'll see you guys later. Have a good day. Have a good night. Good afternoon. Take care, guys. Bye.